In this podcast episode, Nigel Farage discusses his recent trip to America to show support for Donald Trump after an assassination attempt. He describes the Trump family as incandescent about the security failure that allowed the attacker to get so close. Farage believes the attempt could have led to a breakdown of respect for law and order across America if successful. He attributes the divisiveness in American society partly to the illiberal liberal mindset that views political opponents as evil rather than simply misguided. Farage criticizes the mainstream media and Democratic Party for misleading the public about Joe Biden's fitness for office. He cites examples of Biden's cognitive decline, like confusing Vladimir Zelensky with Vladimir Putin. He argues Biden's presidency has made the world more dangerous, linking the chaotic Afghanistan withdrawal to Putin's invasion of Ukraine. He expresses skepticism about Kamala Harris as Biden's replacement, describing her as inconsistent and too far left on issues like critical race theory. Farage explains his decision to return to frontline politics in the UK after a period away. He sees a growing gap between public opinion and the political establishment, with declining faith in the two-party system. He believes there is an opportunity for a new political movement to reshape British politics around themes of family, community, and country. He outlines his plans to build Reform UK into a major political force over the next few years. This includes developing local infrastructure, contesting council elections, and aiming to replace the Conservative Party as the main center-right option. Farage rejects the idea of an electoral pact with the Conservatives, saying he wants to build something new rather than prop up a failing party. Farage identifies several major challenges facing the UK, including high levels of government debt, over-reliance on immigration for economic growth, and cultural divisions. He argues for policies to encourage entrepreneurship and get more people into work, criticizing the expansion of disability benefits. He sees a need to rewire how people think about success and the role of government. On immigration, Farage links high levels to declining quality of life and cultural tensions. He argues the economic benefits are overstated when considering GDP per capita rather than headline figures. He predicts growing sectarian and identity-based voting will further fragment British politics. Looking ahead, Farage anticipates major financial shocks in the coming years due to excessive debt levels globally. He draws some parallels with the 1930s in terms of political polarization, though notes the geopolitical situation is different. He identifies Iran, China, and Russia as key threats to global stability. Farage is highly critical of much of the mainstream media, arguing they have failed in their duty to challenge power and speak truth. He contrasts current journalists unfavorably with past figures like Andrew Neil and John Humphreys. He recounts a recent interaction with BBC journalist Emily Maitlis, which he felt was unproductive and emblematic of declining standards. While acknowledging significant challenges, Farage expresses optimism about the potential for political change in the UK. He sees an opportunity for a more bullish and assertive political movement to fill the gap left by the established parties. He believes major changes to the electoral system and political structures are coming. On personal finance, Farage predicts young people will not receive state pensions and advises considering alternatives like gold and cryptocurrencies. He sees crypto as offering freedom from state control of money and predicts its use will grow significantly. Farage reflects on his long political career campaigning against the EU, noting that his warnings about European political integration were eventually vindicated despite initial skepticism. He expresses confidence in his ability to see the big picture in politics and anticipate major shifts. Throughout the interview, Farage outlines several key policy positions and priorities: reducing immigration levels and being more selective about skills, encouraging entrepreneurship and small business growth, reforming the welfare system to get more people into work, promoting a stronger sense of British English identity and values, skepticism towards green policies and climate change mitigation efforts, support for lower taxes and reduced regulation on business, desire for a smaller state and less government intervention overall, concern about cultural divisions and identity politics. Farage discusses his strategy for building Reform UK into a major political force, focus on local elections and building grassroots infrastructure, aim to appeal to both former Conservative and Labour voters, develop a distinct policy platform rather than just criticizing other parties, use social media and alternative media to reach voters directly, present a more optimistic and assertive vision compared to established parties, potentially seek to fundamentally reshape the UK's party system. He emphasizes the need to focus on reform, UK's own development, rather than worrying too much about other parties. Farage rejects the idea of an electoral pact with the Conservatives, saying he wants to replace them rather than prop them up. Farage discusses his media strategy and public profile. Critical of much of the mainstream media, especially the BBC, uses social media platforms like TikTok to reach younger audiences, participated in reality TV shows like I'm a Celebrity to broaden appeal, sees value in presenting a more optimistic and entertaining political style, continues to do media appearances and speeches internationally, especially in the US. Farage outlines his economic philosophy and concerns. Skeptical of modern monetary theory and quantitative easing, worried about high government debt levels and potential for financial crisis. Believes in encouraging individual entrepreneurship rather than relying on big corporations. Critical of high taxes and regulations on business. Concerned about brain drain of talented people leaving the UK. Sees crypto as potentially offering freedom from state control of money. On social and cultural issues, Farage expresses concern about declining sense of British English identity and values, opposition to what he sees as woke, ideology in education and institutions, belief in traditional family values and community, worry about cultural divisions and identity politics, desire to promote a more positive view of British history and culture. Farage touches on some foreign policy views. Critical of Iran nuclear deal and Western engagement with Iran, sees China as increasingly threatening under current leadership, believes Putin has lost his marbles with Ukraine invasion, supportive of closer UK-US relations, especially under Trump, skeptical of EU integration and glad UK left. Looking back on his long political career, Farage feels vindicated in early warnings about EU political integration, proud of role in achieving Brexit, even if not fully satisfied with outcome, believes he has good political instincts and ability to see big picture, sees unfinished business in reshaping British politics more broadly, willing to sacrifice comfortable retirement to return to frontline politics. For the future, Farage predicts major financial economic crisis in next 5-10 years, growing cultural and political divisions in UK and Europe, potential for fundamental reshaping of British party system, increasing use of cryptocurrencies as alternative to state-controlled money, young people unlikely to receive state pensions, continued geopolitical instability and threats from Iran, China, Russia. Overall, the interview presents Farage as confident in his political vision and eager to reshape British politics through his new Reform UK party. While acknowledging significant challenges facing the UK, he expresses optimism about the potential for change and his ability to be a catalyst for it. Farage's views remain controversial, but he clearly still sees a major role for himself in British public life going forward.